Hi. I hope I'm live right now. It says I'm live, but this is my first time doing it from StreamYard, and I'm doing it to three different channels. I'm doing it to the Facebook group, to my personal page, and to my YouTube channel. So this is a fun adventure.
Hooray!
Everyone, this is Morgan with Splendid Yoga. I'm here with Bryn Brown. Oh wait, over here. I'm here with Bryn Brown. She is my OG business coach. She is the first business coach that I hired. Gosh, was it over 4 years ago? I had just gotten laid off, and Bryn had posted in another group that we're in together about offering a free session of spiritual guidance. And we had a chat. And what was so valuable about the time that we had together is that I I'd just been laid off. I was terrified. I knew I didn't want to work for anyone else. I knew I wanted to start my own business. I also wasn't sure I was ready to throw down a couple $1,000 to hang out with a business coach. I'd never hired a business coach before. So I had a lot of limits in place that Bryn so beautifully she didn't break them down. She just very gently set them off to the side and really it felt like you gave me permission to let my business emerge from me. And truly, I would never have gotten this far this quickly without your guidance. But what was so valuable about what you gave me is that I think we talked for 3 or 4 hours over the course of a month before I paid you anything. You really taught me to trust you and to trust your methods. And I'd made $1,000, I think, before I paid you. And that's what gave me the faith to be like, oh, this person is someone who can really help me. And that inspired me to make my Facebook group, the Manage Your Money Yogically Facebook group, because I realized how valuable it is to teach people how to afford this stuff that seems high ticket, but really it's just such an investment if the energy is aligned. And I've had the experience sense of hiring coaches who I hadn't developed that sense of trust with. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, but it's really informed how I bring clients into my life in terms of making sure that they're really comfortable with the work that we're going to do and they trust it, because I find if you don't trust it, it doesn't work. So before I pass it over to Bryn, because she's got just a wealth of knowledge to share with us today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the concept of a passive income stream, which means that you don't do any work, maybe a little bit on the front end, but money just appears in your account. So that would be like if you have an Amazon affiliate account and you put a link on your blog and someone clicks on that link and you get a couple bucks for them buying through that link. You didn't have to do any work besides just publishing the blog, and that can pay itself off in dividends over time. So I, in a given year, have anywhere between 8 and 20 different income streams from different affiliate relationships, and one of which I actually just developed here with Bryn, because she has this beautiful offering coming up. So that's why I'm showing you live how I'm creating this passive income stream. So my requirements for deciding to create an income stream from something is if I would recommend it anyway, right? So whether I was getting paid or not, I have recommended Bryn so many times over the years, happily and gladly. And I would do it even if I, wasn't receiving anything for it, which, we haven't had this affiliate relationship before. So I've done that many times. It also has to be something that I know my audience is going to benefit from. If I came on here and I was like, hey guys, I have this great deal on guns. I don't know if people would be really into that, if it would really align with my audience. So I try to pick out the things that I offer in terms of what I think is actually going to benefit the people who are going to be seeing this. And then the third requirement I have is that it helps save the world somehow, which of course the work that Bryn does as a business coach who helps healers like me create that soul-aligned business certainly helps save the world. And I've seen her do it over and over again with her clients. You can hear my dog squeaking in the background. That's his snap. He's into it. So Bryn, I'd love to tell me. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking, and with the StreamYard, it's a little choppy. I'm going to throw it over to you. Tell me, What inspired you to become a business coach?
Loaded question. I was just saying hi to Spike, by the way. So much in there. By the way, thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for all of those super kind words. I love knowing you. I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to work together. And I'm so excited all the time to see everything that you're up to, because you've just really blossomed. All of the revenues you have in place. I mean, you're just so smart. You've done so well with your business. And I'm cheering you on. I'm rooting for you all the time. And I know we still talk, so I get to hear about all the things that are happening. So that's fabulous. You did say you have between 8 and 20 revenue streams every year. I do want to point out for people that millionaires on average have at least 7 revenue streams. So if you have any inspiration or hope or desire to be a millionaire, or even just get inching closer to that, or even 1,000-aire, multiplying your revenue streams is going to be the fastest way to get there. And then before I dive into on more, and I, at this point, haven't even forgotten what the original question was, but you may hear my sweet daughter in the background. There's all kinds of fun stuff happening back there. So a little grace goes a long way over here. So, okay, I think the question was, how did I become a business coach? Because how does one become a business coach? So I have a background in sales, and I never wanted to be in sales. I kept trying to get out of sales. It was the only job I could get at the time. I had sales adjacent, we'll call it sales adjacent jobs all through college, graduated right at the start of the recession at the end of 2007, went into a very strange job market. And I applied over the course of about 2 months. I applied to, it was like 41 or 42 jobs. And this was everything. I mean, I got turned down for waitressing, which I had years and years of experience doing. I mean, I was applying to everything. And the only job offer I got was for sales. So I didn't really have a choice. That's how I got into it. And then once you're into a career, it can be kind of tricky to transition. So I kept trying to get out of sales and transition into something more glamorous like marketing, which is just sales, by the way. And so yeah, I was doing all these sales jobs, and I was learning how to sell, and I was getting trained. I was learning business and how to run small mom and pops and some larger businesses. So I was on the back end seeing how and learning about how businesses succeed and what works and doesn't work. So I was getting a ton of experience in corporate America. At the same time, there were a couple of things that stood out. So one was a lot of the sales training that I was getting works, but it didn't feel good for me. It didn't feel in integrity. It felt a little bit more like the manipulation techniques, or, just kind of using psychology against someone. And that wasn't for me, and that's fine. So I had to figure out a way to feel in integrity with selling. And so it was sort of like, how can I sell without being salesy? And that's what I figured out over 20 years. And then, the other thing I was realizing is that I really have a strong desire to help people, and I just don't know how I'm supposed to be doing it. Fortunately for me, I've been sort of a spiritual junkie for my whole life, and I had a lot of coaches and teachers that I followed. And it's a story for another time, but at the time in my life, I was looking for a love coach for dating and relationships. Worked out, happily married now, obviously have a kid. However, working with that coach, I was like, it was just like a switch flip. Like, I could be a coach and I could really do this. And so I started going into coaching. And what I found was that I could get clients, but other coaches in particular, but other business owners were like, hey, how are you doing your sales? How are you getting clients? And that's what transitioned, because I started as a love coach and I transitioned over into teaching business, because that is what this sort of, I met this intersection of teaching, my passion for, and my skill at teaching, and this passion for helping people kind of came together. And when I realized I started coaching, and I was coaching people around business, it lit me up inside in a way that nothing ever has before. And so now I'm a business coach. That's what I do. Where do we want to go from here?
That's so the whole reason we're on here is because you've created this incredible webinar, which is totally free. I'm going to put the link right now in the comments. Hopefully that goes through. I sign up for these kind of webinars all the time, and this is easily the most valuable webinar I've watched. And the reason is because you give like such solid advice about killer closes and about kind of the psychology, as you said, like behind the sales tactics, but from a place of like, we're not using it against someone, right? We're not trying to take advantage or manipulate someone. We're actually trying to bring to the surface all of the blocks that they've put in place for themselves. And having experienced, you providing that service for me helped me realize that like it is actually a service to convince someone that they deserve to invest in themselves in this way, right? Whether you're hiring a business coach or a fitness coach. And so I wanted to bring you on here because I know there are so many people who can benefit from this webinar. So tell me more about it. How did you get the idea to put this together?
Oh, I got the idea to put it together from my coach, actually. And so that's great, right? There's value in that. There's a huge return on investment. And we could talk about ROI in a little bit, but so the whole concept behind the webinar is, a couple of things. One, it was my birthday, and it's good luck to give gifts on your birthday. So for me, what could I do to celebrate? I wanted to be, and I'm sort of at this stage in my life where I want to be more intentional about my time, right? I'm here. I got the gift of a year, and now I'm here entering into the next year, and I want to give stuff away. And I love doing it. So it's a little selfish, right? Because I got to teach something so fun and so valuable on my birthday. That was a blast. So anyway, I got this idea to teach this webinar. And when I work with clients, we look at their whole business. So we're looking at the structure of it, the systems, the finances, and sales and marketing, right? What I hear from people when they come to me is the biggest sticking point is sales. I'm not selling enough. I'm not making enough money. So all those other things are nice and they're important, but the selling is really the place that we always start. So if someone's going to come across my work, the first thing that I want to do is help them have some quick wins, help them make a difference in their business so they can, one, if we never cross paths again, they have more sales, they have more money in their pocket, they're reaching more people, right? Like my intention is just to serve, because the more we give, and everyone in here, you're all spiritual people, right? So you all know and get the more that you give, the more that you receive, right? And so what happens is oftentimes, especially if you're spiritual, we start to shut down the receiving part. And then by default, we maybe don't give as much, or we overgive, and there's just a total imbalance of energy there. So what I wanted to do was just give away like my best sales tips, because I got this formal training and I got all of this experience that most people don't get. And I figured out that it's really actually very simple to just make some minor tweaks here and there that can have huge impacts, right? Huge impact in your income, huge impact in the lives of your prospects and your clients, right? Helping them make this decision to work with you, or helping them make a decision not to work with you, because that's equally as valuable. So I broke down the webinar, is it okay if I just go into it? Okay. She's like, let's just minimize the delay here. Okay, I'm getting excited. I'm kicking my table. All right. So the webinar is 3 hidden reasons your sales calls are tanking and how to fix it. Because what I find is there's one of these 3 things that are going wrong that you might not even be aware of, or maybe you're a little bit aware, but you just have no idea what to do about it, right? So typically it's going to fall into one of these 3 categories. So one, it could be that it's your mindset. So there's some limiting beliefs that are showing up, and they're shifting the energy of the conversation, and they're actually repelling your clients, or your prospects, without you even knowing it or being intentional about it. So we got to look at the energy stuff. The second thing is your offer. There's something off with the offer, right? Your package, your pricing, something's not aligned in there. There is an art and a science to creating the right price and package for you, right? So for you specifically and for your ideal client. So there could be something going on there. And then the close, right? The close is like the part when people think of sales, they're always like, oh, how do you close someone, right? And there are a lot of nuances to that part of selling. But the number one thing that I see is that people often don't even have a close at all because they're so afraid of becoming the proverbial used car salesman. No offense, used car salesman, but they just don't want to be too pushy. They don't want to feel salesy. And so they just back off way too much. And so typically it's one of those three things that are going on. So the webinar will go into each of those things, why they're happening, and then give you the practical, tangible takeaways that you can do that if we never cross paths again and you never heard from me again, you're going to be better at sales for watching the webinar.
So one of my, I think, most powerful takeaways from the webinar was around kind of how to reframe the no in terms of how to know if it's an actual no, like they're just not interested and it's like the soft no, and then where to turn that conversation, right? Because so often, like if you have that limiting belief that you're expecting the no, that can kind of be what's feeding into it. But then you get kind of the passive people who maybe don't quite understand like where the value is, or they're just not interested. It's just not aligned. And they give the passive no instead of the firm no. And so you think there's like something to kind of manipulate there to still kind of save the sale. And the truth is like the sale is dead, like to know, like, you know, when to fold them essentially to make that hasty exit. But more often it's that I think one of the phrases you used with me, it's really common in the coaching world and really valuable, is, do you not have the money for this? Like it's usually time or money is the reason you do or don't do anything, right? So if they don't have the money to invest in your program, but they agree that the value is there, the question is like, do you really not have the money, or do you not have the money for this, right? Because that's a shift in how you prioritize your money, and it's a much more empowering way to experience a relationship to money is, you know, do I not have the money? Am I so deeply in debt and it's uncomfortable for me that I really just need to throw everything towards my debt? Or is this something that's actually going to help me get out of debt that is going to be a worthy investment? Or is it that, you know, I have my budget in place and I have this idea of how much this should cost and it was more than I was expecting, so I really just can't afford it. And that's just such a contractive place to experience life. And we're always looking to expand rather than contract. So that's where the real value is, especially for my people who are like, sales just feels so creepy, is like, you're not convincing someone to give you money through manipulation. You're freeing them from the binds of this limited relationship to money where they're telling themselves they can't afford it, when the reality is either they don't want to or they're refusing to give themselves permission to. So what are some of your favorite closers?
So much in that. Okay. Yeah, I think there's this this idea of overcoming objections. I use that term sometimes too, but that I think there's this inherent connotation of overcoming objections, meaning that you're going to convince them to change their mind. And you're so right, Morgan. And yes, we did talk about this. It's when someone comes at you with an objection, and money is a great example because that's usually the number one thing. And if you're a healer and you're in body work, right, and you're in this line of work and you're providing a service, it's like you have to find out, first of all, do they even value this at all, right? Just like you said, because money, people just want to say no. And it is that contractive energy, and they don't know how to just say no, right? Like we ghost now. We don't even say no. We just disappear. So if you're on the phone or on a Zoom call with someone and they can't just like hang up and peace out, right? They're just going to throw an excuse at you. So first of all, you have to get clear on any objection if the objection is actually true. So that's like first and foremost. And I think I get so excited about teaching this stuff, I forget what the actual question was. So if I get too far off, you just come back in and reel me back in. We're going to talk about it. Okay. So where do you want me to go with this? The value of so much about empowerment. Yeah, I want to talk about more of this too.
I know, that's so good. I love that. So I think my question was, what are your favorite closers? Like, what has been really effective for you?
Oh my gosh, I was going down a whole different after the close road. Okay, so my favorite close. So I use, and you're going to hear this. I'm sort of giving things away here, and I'm totally fine doing that. When I'm closing someone, first of all, you have to know when to close them. Okay, so if you haven't extracted enough or the right information, or if the energy is not appropriate, you don't want to be saying any clothesline. Okay. So for example, so lots of healers here, right? Lots of energy. If you're in a place, and Morgan, I know this was something for you, right? If you've got a client or prospect that's in tears and they're emotional, you're not going to be like, so when do you want to start? In that moment. So you have to, read the room and know when to close. So I say that just know that there's a dance with that, and you have to make sure that you have the right information and the energy is right. And then we transition easily in. And then once we're transitioned nicely into a conversation around selling, then when it's time to close, so this is assuming that you have then said, okay, here's my offer, here's what I provide, and here's how much it costs. And then you're sort of in that awkward place. What most people do, again, because they're afraid of becoming salesy and getting weird about it, that they're just like, okay, let me know what you think, bye, right? That doesn't really work, because people want to be led, and they're coming to you for your expertise. So you have to show up as an expert. And that is all the way through that sales conversation. So if you don't close, you drop that energy of being the expert in that moment, because you're no longer leading them, okay? And so now you're more likely to get a no, not because they don't believe in the value, not because they can't afford it, but because you've stopped leading and guiding. So we don't want to drop the ball, okay? So it's like the strong finish, right? So I use a 2-line close. We'll just get right to it. The reason I do that is the psychology is that you want to prime someone to say yes. So I teach in my courses and my private clients, I teach how to pepper in these priming questions throughout all of your interactions. But the idea is that you're getting them to say yes before they say yes, because it just makes it easier to say yes, right? Right? Yes. So what that might look like, if I'm closing someone and I'm telling them about my healing program or my yoga program, and it's like, okay, so, this is the package, and it's 6 weeks, and it's $500 or whatever your number is. And then instead of, let me know what you think, or what do you think about that? I might say, does this feel like it would help you? Because again, on that note of empowerment, the idea is not to get them to say yes. The idea is to help them and you decide if it's the right fit. Okay, so if we take the pressure off the yes, and we're 100% okay with it being no, because you want to have no's, you need to have no's before you get to your yes. Yeah. Yeah. So we want to take that pressure off and detach a little bit from the outcome. And then we prime this. So does this feel like it would be helpful for you? Does this feel like it's going to help you achieve XYZ, whatever goals that they have told you about? The answer better be yes, first of all, because if they say no, you do not want to be closing them. Weird, ew, gross, right? So, and then also that's information that you now have that you weren't extracting the right kind of energy or information out in the earlier conversation. So side note, right? Most of the time though, it's going to be a yes. And then, so this feels helpful. Great. When would you like to get started? Simple, easy, right? I know you have that upcoming surgery. Do you want to start before then or after? Right? That's not a yes or no question. You already assume the yes because they've already said yes, right? You know you're going to help them. You know they're interested. That's when they might come back with some objections. And if it's a really good fit, they may just say, better start after the surgery, right? And then there's more leadership to have. We'll pause there for a second.
Yeah, we're getting, I've changed environments a little bit, trying to get a good Wi-Fi signal. So hopefully this is still streaming just
Oh,
fine. Um, so yeah, I love that assume the yes, because if you're at that point in the conversation where you're talking about money, like, yeah, if they're not into it, you should know well before then. But if you're at the point where they want to know how much it costs, like, you're in. It's just a matter of logistics at that point. So yeah, go right to the calendar. I was just talking with a friend of mine about this who's going to be teaching skiing on one of the hills this winter. And he was getting business cards printed up to hand out to offer private instruction. And I was like, dude, you're never going to make money off a business card. Like, it's going to get lost immediately, But if you ask them, if they come to you and they're interested in a private skiing lesson, just get out your calendar right then. Like, that's what I do with every client. Like, okay, well, let's get it on the calendar. Let's make it happen.
totally.
Straight
And
to
that's
it.
part of being a leader, right? Like you say you want this, and part of our job as a service provider is to help people show up for that.
So with this service, I can't see the name of who are putting these comments through, but I'm just popping them up on the screen here because
Yeah, I
I'm
see
loving
it. That's so good.
it.
Yeah, get on the call, sign up for the webinar. We'll get you the link.
Yes. So I put the link in the comments here. I hope it came through. It might have just gone through on YouTube, but I'll put it in the comments after the fact, if necessary. As I said, this is my first time using StreamYard, so this is a fun experiment. Thanks for hanging in there with me, Bryn. So let me get to how this is a passive income stream for me. So I've partnered with Bryn so that she's going to give me a cut of anything if you pay for the course. And now the webinar that she's offering is totally free. And if all you did was watch that webinar, you would get so much value. You are definitely going to make money. You are going to kill your next close so swiftly and with such confidence. And more importantly, you're going to get the help that you offer to the people who need it more efficiently and more peacefully. So go watch the webinar, but this is all leading to a course that you can pay for to work with Bryn. And I just wanted to I'd like to be very clear about kind of how my income streams work. So for my own affiliate relationships, for people who sell stuff for me, I do a 50-50 cut at this point. It's really generous because I'm kind of just getting started with this stuff. With Bryn, we're doing a 60-40 cut, which is still hugely generous. I mean, we're talking Amazon. Like, if I make $10 a month off my Amazon affiliate links, right? Like that's a good month. I get like 0.001% of whatever you buy from Amazon. Buy through Smile, not affiliate links. Charities get more. But this is how I'm creating an affiliate link. I've partnered with someone who I've worked with in the past, who's helped me, who I know can help my audience. We've worked out a relationship where I can offer something that she's building that I know is going to be useful. And I'm promoting it. I came on live. We set up this interview. I, downloaded a whole new situation to broadcast it across all of my channels to get it out to as many people as possible. And, if, as I say with anything, if one person benefits from this, then it was totally worth it, right? And like the next layer is, okay, if one person buys this off my affiliate link, then it was totally worth it. But this is something that's going to live on my YouTube channel. It's going to live on the Facebook page. I'm going to release it as a podcast. And it's something that as Bryn releases this course over and over again, can pay off in spades over the years, right? Especially with a 40% commission. Like, that could be a huge moneymaker. And the vast majority of the money that I make from affiliate relationships, which is in the thousands this year, is from these close relationships with small business owners, with people who have these generous commissions, because it's more beneficial for them to pay someone else to do the sales for them and to take advantage of that network than it is to, say, yeah, I'll give you 10%. And that's not really worth anyone's time, to really go out and put a lot of effort into this. But no, I really believe in this program. I wouldn't be promoting it if I didn't. And I have benefited and made tens of thousands of dollars from my work with Bryn. So if you're looking for a business coach, I highly recommend Bryn, although of course I am a business coach too. But definitely, like, there's no competition here. There's room for everyone. So I think that kind of covered everything I wanted to hit. Do you have any closing thoughts for us, Bryn?
So many. So first of all, I didn't used to do this, but on the note of tacking on the affiliate program, at this point, if someone comes to work with me privately, Morgan, through your referral, I now give you 10% of that fee. And you have a sense of my fees. And there's different programs. So it's going to be arranged. So it's definitely worth your time. So just know that. And that goes to anybody listening. If you end up referring someone to me, I'll give you 10%. So that's great. So I think just like some kind of final closing thoughts is, from a business perspective, no matter what you do, there are concepts that you can teach. So just even thinking about this model of doing a webinar, you can sell and should be selling from your webinar when you're teaching. You can do that overtly or covertly, right? So you can seed and talk about your program and make an easy call to action at the end. If you're interested in hearing more, DM me, or schedule a time here and here's the link. It can be very simple. And I consider that more covert because it's sort of just, it's just not what it's all about, right? Or you can do a webinar or a masterclass or whatever you want to call it, an online workshop, and you can really overtly sell during that teaching or that class at the same time. If you want to see that modeled in action, definitely register for the webinar and watch it, because I'm modeling exactly how that sales conversation would go. It's a little different because we're not having the conversation one-on-one, which is what I teach in the course, but you'll see the transition and the flow of the conversation, how you make the offer and the call to action. So it's a really nice demonstration. And then from the affiliate side, again, like Morgan said, you can share this with power partners, so people who serve a similar audience as you, but in a different capacity. So it's not necessarily direct competition. I know Morgan and I, there's no such thing as competition. We all know that. Like, yes, we both coach on business, sure, and no one in the world can coach on business the way Morgan can, and no one in the world can coach on business the way I can. And if you're Morgan's person, awesome, you're Morgan's person. And if you're my person, great, welcome, you're my person, right? But there's no such thing as competition. So there's no harm in creating these relationships and then cross-promoting, because the more value you can add to these sort of tangential experiences that people are having, right? Whether it's around their business or their life or their health, the more value you're providing to them, the more they're going to trust you and the more likely they are to buy from you in the future. So if you're thinking from a business perspective, like, gosh, okay, so affiliate revenue links, how do I find people that are having webinars? Well, host a webinar. First of all, you can sell from it, make some money. But then as you start to talk to people about promoting it, then they're going to come back to you when they have something to promote. And that's where you get onto it. You can also reach out to people if you see someone that you follow and you admire and you're like, hey, do you have an affiliate link? I've done that, right? Like I love your work. Can I promote it too? They will happily send you their affiliate link. And the commissions will range for sure, depending on there's so many different factors. But, if you have a good relationship with someone, like Morgan and I have no problem giving her a huge cut, right? No problem. By the way, the price is going to go up on that course. So if you do want to get it, I encourage you to get it now. Morgan, for you, if people watch the webinar and they buy down the road, you're still going to get a commission. That's how this works, you guys. So this is a revenue opportunity all the time for years to come.
So, oh my gosh, I feel like I just had one of those like explosions of thought conversations, and I want to see which one stuck around. So let me just take a moment to let it settle in. So you're talking about something with the webinars. I was going to say, as you were saying, the reason that I watch so many webinars like the one that Bryn put together is because it is such an effective selling technique. I always learn something, even the ones that are like 30 minutes of the person telling you like, I know I'm giving you way too much information, and you're like, you haven't even told us anything. Like, even from those, I learn at least one thing that's going to help build my business, and that's worth it to me for free. But I also notice what feels good for me to know what I want to reproduce, right? Because what works on me and what wants me want to spend money is what's going to work on my clients and make them want to spend money on me. So it's such a valuable, there's nothing wrong with I'm going to use the word copying, but it's not really copying. It's just strategizing, using the same strategy. Like we're not reinventing the wheel here. This is like infomercials have been around for eons, right? This is just a slightly new format and a slightly new way of the back end of doing it. So don't be afraid to copy someone else's format if it works for you. But if it doesn't resonate with you, if you sign up for these webinars and you never watch them, then yeah, don't bother going down that marketing road, because if it doesn't work for you, it's not going to work for your audience. But there are some simple strategies that you can put in place to create these simple funnels in order to feed people to the work that you actually want to be doing with them, to still put out incredible value to a ton of people. And then we were going to circle back to the course. Oh, that was my question. Who is this course for?
Service providers. So this is for anyone who offers a service, a product to, more specifically, a product if it comes along with a service or an adjunct to your service. This is for someone who has one-to-one sales conversations and you're enrolling your clients on phone calls in a one-to-one conversation. It is not for selling e-commerce or just digital products, right? That's going to be a little bit of a different strategy. We're not talking really about copywriting, though a lot of this conversation can be translated. This is really about that one-to-one conversation.
So the other thing that I was going to circle back around to, which is not directly related to what you just said, but I think is still relevant to the conversation, in terms of if there's something that you are recommending a lot and you think you should be getting an affiliate fee for them, definitely ask. I just did this a few days ago with Beach Yoga Girl, an Instagram star. She's got like 1 million followers. She's got this incredible online yoga platform that I've been using for the past few months. And I wanted to promote it on my blog just as something that like I thought people would want to know, that like this is the fitness program that I've been using to stay in shape while I'm traveling through Mexico. We're all on lockdown, so it may be something that's useful for you. And so I DM'd her on Instagram. You know, she's got 1 million followers. She's got tons of DMs coming through. I asked her if she had an affiliate program because I loved her program and I wanted to recommend it. I said, even if she didn't, I'd still be recommending it. And she said she didn't have one set up, but that she'd pay me for anyone that I sent her way and that we'd, figure out a separate way to track it. So you might actually inspire someone to set up that affiliate program, but it needs to come from that place of like, I'm not trying to make money on this. I'm trying to be of service. But if I can make some money, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with making some money.
So I love this comment that we had here in terms of the competition. Think about when it comes to your dance move. It's all been done before. You just put your own spin on it. I love that. A little bit of boogie. Yeah, so this is for people who are working this course that Bryn has coming up. What's the course called? Did that go through? Did we freeze?
Stress.
Oh, no.
Stress-free sales. I say it again. Stress-free sales is the course. You'll hear all about it in the webinar. Yeah. And it really is breaking down the mindset, the pricing and packaging, and really just breaks down every single nuance of that sales conversation, what to ask, when to ask it, how to out objection for people and say it, right? So that and then a solid class time with the wrong people.
So we're hitting the point in the stream where I'm starting to lose connection. So I feel like that's a sign that we should wrap it up. So I apologize if you missed that last little pitch, but I highly encourage you to go check out the free webinar. It's, I think, like an hour and 20 minutes. I had it on in the background while I was making dinner, and like I stopped making dinner and went to go take a bunch of notes, which almost never happens when I'm watching these things. So it is so valuable. You're definitely going to learn something just about like sales in general, and any sort of business, you're selling something, even as like, an admin, you're selling your services. So I think it's worth it for everyone. But the course specifically, which will be costing some money, is yeah, specifically for people who are doing these one-on-one conversations. It will be so fabulous for anyone looking to start or continue and grow their coaching business in terms of getting really comfortable with making sales your very favorite thing. And I'll tell you, as someone who is not a natural salesperson, basically everything I learned from sales, I learned from Bryn, and I'm really fucking good at it now. So thank you so much, Bryn, for joining us. I am so grateful for your presence in my life, and I'm sure we'll be talking again soon.
My pleasure. Okay, we'll talk again soon.